Hey, what's going on YouTube? Chuckles again with another video. Today, I would like to talk about my desktop. No, I'm just kidding. Today, I want to talk about the patch 2.2.0, which is now live for Diablo 3. It came out yesterday. And with us being so close to the third season here, it starts April 10th, so I believe 2 days from the time I put up this video. I just want to go over some of the patch notes and talk about some of the things they changed, some nerfs, some buffs, gameplay mechanics, so on and so forth. So let's just jump right into it here. So there's the table of contents, which I'm not going to go over because we're going to try and touch on most of this stuff. So the first thing I want to talk about is the 3 new treasure goblins, and we'll talk a little bit more in depth at the end when we actually get to the treasure goblin spot. But they added 3 different new treasure goblins. I'm pretty excited to see what they're doing with them, seeing what happens with them. Next, it says when crafting items, the entire quantity will now be crafted at once instead of like one at a time, which is amazing. And that's with gems and items, so on and so forth. You can now increase your blood shard cap by achieving a personal best in solo great rifts, which is awesome because 500 is not nearly enough. 2 new legendary potions, 2 new legendary gems, and a whole bunch of revamped legendary powers have been added. Several sets across all 6 classes have received significant improvements, and new Barbarian, Demon Hunter, and Wizard sets have been added, which is always good because new builds are pretty fun to try out. New seasonal rewards have been added to the game. 2 new transmogs, a new pennant, which is like the little flag thing, and a new portrait frame. Excuse me, had to cough. Several new improvements have been made to looting items in mass quantity. That I'm not really going to go over. You can read that. But auto pickup potions and so on and so forth. Regular potions have been removed from the game, so that's kind of cool. The health potion slot on the action bar is now a bottomless health potion that will heal you for 60% of your maximum life, which means you don't have to carry around potions, you don't have to pick up potions, you don't have to have potions in your stash. That I'm extremely happy about. The functionality of legendary potions is unchanged, just a note. Looting a crafting material will now also pick up all other materials of the same type within 20 yards. So if you pick up an arcane dust, now you don't have to go around and actually click each individual one. It just, you grab them all. Same with the gems. Looting a gem will pick up all of them. A wardrobe has been added to the town in each act next to the mystic. Clicking on the wardrobe will open a new cosmetic window in which players can manage any wings, pets, pennants, and portrait frames unlocked on their account, which is awesome because that means you don't have to carry the item in your bag. It may not seem like a big deal, but that to me is huge. Okay, moving right on to the classes. Every class received a few changes this patch, creating synergy with new set and legendary items, so on and so forth. So first, Barbarian, Hammer of the Ancients, Skill Rune Rolling Thunder should now more reliably hit nearby enemies in front of the Barbarian, which is pretty cool. Rend, Mutilate, fixed an issue preventing this rune from increasing the damage of itself. Whirlwind, which we all know I like Whirlwind Barb. Radius increased from 8 to 9 yards, so a small buff can now be cast sooner after using another skill, so you don't have to like double click. It'll just, once you click, it'll just automatically start whirlwinding. And then Dust Devils. Dust Devils spawn rate now scales with your attack speed. That's a pretty big deal, to be honest, and Dust Devils now travel in a more predictable path. So on with the passives. Nerves of Steel has been redesigned. Fatal damage instead reduces you to 15% life. For 3 seconds afterward, you take 95% reduced damage and are immune to all control impairing effects. It can only happen once a minute. Next, moving right along to the Crusader. Active skills, Laws of Hope. Active effect duration increased from 3 to 5 seconds. The skill rune Stop Time has been removed, and it's now replaced with Promise of Faith. Empowering the Law also reduces non-physical damage taken by 25%. Punish, the skill rune Celerity? I don't know how to pronounce that, Celerity. Proc coefficient increased for pretty much all of the skill runes Fury, Rebirth, and Roar. Demon Hunter, active skills, Reign of Vengeance, the skill rune Anathema. duration reduced from 5 seconds to 2 seconds. The total damage dealt is unchanged. So that's not necessarily a buff or a nerf. The rune should now begin dealing damage more quickly. That's more of a, you get more bang for your buck. It doesn't take as long to get the damage that it would have taken. So neither a hurt or a win, really. Skill rune Flying Strike, again, duration reduced. Stampede, duration reduced. And again, the total damage dealt is unchanged. So neither good nor bad. Sentry now displays a buff, include icon indicating how many sentries you have active, which is awesome. Witch Doctors have had that for a while, to where it shows how many pets they have, how many fetishes, so on and so forth. So now we can see how many sentries we have with our Demon Hunter, which is a good thing. Smokescreen, cooldown reduced from 3 to 1.5 seconds. That is pretty significant. The ability does not start its cooldown until after it expires, though, which is okay. That just basically means you can't run around in Smokescreen permanently, which would be kind of cool, but at any rate. Skill rune Vanishing Powder. The cooldown has been reduced from 8 to 6 seconds, and Strafe can now be cast sooner after using another skill. Next up is the Monk. Excuse me again, man. Active skills Dashing Strike. Completes its animation more quickly. Fixed an issue that prevented Dashing Strike from reliably hitting enemies when used to travel a short distance. Deadly Reach, the skill rune Piercing Trident. It was a bug fix. Fixed an issue that prevented the third hit from always knocking enemies up into the air. Mystic Ally now has the same attack speed you do, so that's kind of a buff. Tempest Rush can now be cast sooner after using another skill. Cooldown reduction on Serenity. And again, the cooldown doesn't start until after the ability expires. Near-death experience has been completely redesigned. So when you receive fatal damage, you instead restore 35% life and 35% spirit and are immune to damage and control impairing effects for 2 seconds. Can't happen but once a minute. Seize the Initiative, fixed an issue that prevented the attack speed bonus from being granted if your initial attack brought your enemy below 75%. Next, my personal favorite is the Witch Doctor. So Fetish Army, the Fetish Ambush skill rune, weapon damage dealt by each fetish when it is summoned increased from 250 to 680%. I feel like I might have to give this a try. That is one significant boost in damage. Next is Haunt, Consuming Spirit skill rune, life per second increased from 2682 to 4291, another buff. And the damage type changed from cold to fire. So that's something that I want to touch on. Cold items aren't the most plentiful, I guess is what you could say, but fire items, however, there's a metric crap ton of them. So this is pretty significant. You may see people running Consuming Spirit and Fetish Ambush just to try this out. I know I'm going to. Excuse me. And then Poison Spirit fixed a bug issue. Hex, I'm not going to touch on because I don't use it. Plague of Toads, Reign of Toads, the proc coefficient has been reduced. Soul Harvest intelligence bonus granted by each enemy harvested increased from 2 to 3%, so a small buff. Zombie Dogs, your skill rune Final Gift has been removed, replaced with Chilled to the Bone. Enemies hit or hit by zombie dogs are chilled for 3 seconds and take 15% increased damage from all sources. So, Fetish Sycophants, passive skill. For the Witch Doctor here, proc chance increased from 10 to 15%, so you're going to spawn them quicker, if that makes any sense. Fetish Sycophant's damage is now increased by your highest elemental damage type at the time of summoning. So that's interesting. That's very, very interesting. Next we move right on to the Wizard. Slow time is now cast at your target location up to 60 yards away, instead of right on top of you. You know what I'm talking about? So skill rune Time and Space has been removed, replaced with Exhaustion. Enemies caught inside slow time deal 25% less damage. Interesting. So you can now use it on ranged enemies and you don't have to be right up front with your wizard there. Time Warp damage bonus increased from 10 to 15%, so nice little buff there. Arcane Dynamo fixed an issue that caused Nephilim Glory Orbs to consume Flash of Insight stacks when picked up. And fixed an issue that caused Flash of Light stacks to be removed when speaking to an NPC. Next we go right on to items. Not a whole lot of them that I really want to touch on, with the exception of Arkstone, new legendary ring, and the Blood Brother, a new legendary two-hander. So it grants 15 to 20% chance to block attacks as a two-handed weapon, so I feel like this is going to be great for Crusaders. Blocked attacks inflict 30% less damage, however, and after blocking attack, your next attack inflicts 30% additional damage. So you could kind of combo that up a little bit. That looks somewhat interesting to me. So a couple things on the potions. Bottomless Potion of the Leech, Mutilation, and Potion of Regeneration and Rejuvenation. Bastions of Will, 2-set bonus, has been redesigned. After casting a resource-generating attack or primary skill, gain 50% increased damage for 5 seconds. And your first hit with each cast of resource-spinning attack grants 50% increased damage for 5 seconds. Captain Crimson's, I'm not going to really talk about. It wasn't that big of a deal. Court of the Sherma, Chaos Field, duration increased from 2 to 4 seconds. Corrupted Ashbringer. This has me kind of interested. So the Corrupted Ashbringer, new legendary 2-handed, chance on kill to raise a skeleton to fight for you. Upon accumulating 5 skeletons, they explode for 1,000 weapon damage, and the sword transforms into Ashbringer for a short time. Attacking with Ashbringer burns your target for 4,500 to 6,000 weapon damage as wholly. So, the Corrupted Ashbringer and the Ashbringers from World of Warcraft, as I'm sure you know. But, I just think it's cool that they had the Thunder Fury, now they have the Ashbringer, like, I don't know, that's kind of interesting to me. So, quite a bit of other little, legendary item changes. I'm not going to touch on every one of them. And then the class-specific items, we got Bulkatho's Oath, it got a little bit changed. Immortal Kings gets a little different. And then the Wrath of the Wastes is the new set they get. So a 2-set bonus increases the damage of Rend by 500% and its duration to 15 seconds, which is pretty damn cool. And then here's what I wanted to talk about. Set bonus for the 4-piece is while whirlwinding, you take 40% reduced damage, and the 6-piece is whirlwind gains the effect of Dust Devil's rune, and the damage of Dust Devils is increased to 2,500% weapon damage. So this set is going to be like the Rend Whirlwind build, and that is what I'm going to strive for in Season 3. Season 3, I'm going to be playing a Barbarian. I actually think I'm going to try it on Hardcore this time, as opposed to just normal Seasons ladder. And I want this Wrath of the Waste sets because I personally prefer to play Whirlwind Barb. It's kind of like an homage to Diablo 2, and I find it to be extremely fun. If you look at my channel, I actually did a Whirlwind Barb build video, and I'm excited now that they're going to have their own Whirlwind Barb set. Moving on to the Crusader, they got new legendary bracers, a new legendary belt, another new belt. A couple of their sets has been redesigned. Here's their new set, Unhallowed Essence. 2-set bonus, your generators also generate 1 discipline. Wait, this is did I say Crusader? I meant Demon Hunter. Wow. Reading is hard. At any rate, the 4-set bonus gain 20% of damage reduction and 20% increased damage for 4 seconds if no enemy is within 10 yards of you, so staying ranged, staying away from them. 6-piece bonus, your generators and multi-shot deal 15% more damage for every point of discipline you have. Pretty sweet. So here's the Monk. They just got a couple things redesigned. They didn't get a completely new set. The Witch Doctor, couple new belts. Couple redesigned things, but no new set. And then we get to the Wizard, who has an actual new set. Del Cere's Magnum Opus. I don't know if Del Ceres. I don't know how to pronounce that. At any rate, 2-set bonus, casting Arcane Orb, Energy Twister, Magic Missile, or Shock Pulse reduces the cooldown of your slow time by 2 seconds. So they're really pushing this slow time thing here now. 4-set bonus, enemies affected by your slow time take 2,000% weapons damage every second. So a bleed effect, which is pretty cool. Set bonus, for the 6-piece, enemies affected by your slow time take 750% more damage from your Arcane Orb, Energy Twister, Magic Missile, and Shock Pulse. So that's pretty cool. Firebirds have been redesigned, which we all knew was needed. Talrasha has been redesigned. What else we got? Excuse me. A couple other legendary powers added to different items. Here it talks about the new seasonal legendaries, which I'm not going to spoil for anybody. New achievements, Pack of Champion archers in Westmarch now spawn as Revenant archers instead of skeletal archers. The drop chance of Rack and Shoe's Blade has been increased. Increased the spawn chance of several extremely rare unique monsters in Act 5. This is all well and good, but they need to make it to where you get more, what are they? The rift with the the cow at the end. That's one that I really want and need. So adventure mode has gotten some new changes. Again, you can increase your blood shard cap, which is amazing. I'm not going to go over a lot of these, but let's see what else. When crafting gems and items, the entire quantity, we already went over that. New monsters, Rift Guardians, Armored Destroyer, Merciless Witch, the Key Wardens. Doesn't really talk about anything spectacular. New Greater Rift completion screen has been added. You now must confirm deletion of a seasonal item in your mailbox before it's to be removed. Okay. Anyway, here's the 3 new treasure goblins. So you get the Insufferable Miscreant, the Gelatinous Sire, and the Gilded Baron. The new treasure golems can only be found in adventure mode, so while doing bounties and if you're rifting inside of those. The social button now opens the friends list by default, but will remember what the last viewed and will navigate to the screen next time it's opened. So this is pretty cool. This is a little thing. Rift Guardians positions now always show on the map or mini-map regardless of your distance from them. So that's pretty sweet. You don't have to go like hunting for them. It always shows where they are, so you don't have to go into like uncharted territories. So quite a large patch from Blizzard this time, 2.2.0. They changed quite a bit of stuff. I was really wanting to make this video a little bit shorter than what it is, but there's quite a bit to talk about, and I skipped over a lot of it, so keep that in mind. I hope you guys are going to enjoy the patch as much as I think I'm going to. I can't wait 2 days from now. I cannot wait to be playing Season 3. I really want to start up my hardcore Barbarian and start whirlwinding it up. So I will see you guys in game. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe down below, and I will see you guys in the next one. Have a good one.